to today's more important analysis videos with me, Rich Market Analyst at Hantec Markets on Monday, 31st of July. There's a slight amount of dollar recovery that has been seen early doors today. A little bit of a mixed outlook on equity markets. Let me show you that dollar recovery whereby euro's weaker, sterling's weaker, yen actually, interestingly, has now started to outperform again. But the other forex majors are also weaker against the dollar. And that's just come as these treasury yields have just sort of bounced off their lows today. And that sort of helped the day with dollar to stabilise a little bit. But generally speaking, I still think that this is going to be a bit of a rally that gets sold into on the dollar. And you look at the continued downside. We had another downside move on Friday on that weaker Q1 growth revision, and also the employment cost index, which came in lower than expected. So the markets fell away on, or the US market fell away on the back of that. Treasury was closing at the day low. And that is sort of filtered with a little bit of early weakness, but a little bit of a bounce today. But I don't think that bounce is going to last, to be honest. In terms of your equity markets, we've seen FTSE outperforming. Now that outperformance is basically coming on the back of the HSBC results that were better than expected, including a share buyback program as well, and the market took that strongly, and that is helping FTSE to outperform. But again, I don't necessarily think there's a great deal that would suggest that's going to continue. Now, what we have seen is the Wall Street indices just beginning to stutter a little bit in the last session or so. And that's sort of been coming as continued sort of focus on Trump and his political woes. We had the chief of staff resigning on Friday, so just another sort of factor that Trump has got to deal with in terms of his seemingly disintegrating administration and effectiveness of getting anything done. And the political ramifications of that are obviously quite high, but also through to the markets as well with regard to his fiscal expansion. But in terms of moves on the dollar, they're slightly rebounded today, but I don't see that lasting too long in the markets. Now, in terms of what we've got to look forward to today, we've got a US pending home sales, but we have had early doors the Eurozone inflation data, which interestingly came in above expectations on the core data, which increased to 1.3% from 1.2%, but that was above the 1.1% expected, so it was expected to fall. It actually increased. Euro hasn't exceptionally risen, especially on the back of that. And there was about 10, 15 ticks of pips of rally, but that sort of has unwound a bit. But yeah, that is still supportive of this Euro rally, which I'll talk about. But other than that, there's the US pending home sales this afternoon, which is expected to show an increase of 1%. And yeah, that's this afternoon. But my chart of the day is FTSE 100. Now, I sort of decide my chart of the day on the day before, and then obviously write them up in the morning. And when you do equity markets, they obviously can open and move quite significantly, but you don't know whether they're going to open. Now, FTSE is this example of this, whereby we had FTSE 100, which looked to be breaking down on a technical basis. Sort of that intraday moved on Friday to a almost 3-week low, closed at a 3-week low as well. Had the momentum indicators rolling over, but today we've seen obviously that those HSBC numbers coming out positively, and that sort of helped to pull the market higher. Is this the beginning of another rally? I don't necessarily think it is, because I look at this sort of market and think, well, that is arguably, well, that uptrend since December sort of touches these lows, and you've got these sort of converging trend lines almost, haven't you? And I think the fact that we're sort of closed below those trend lines on Friday, we've got the momentum indicators which are rolling over on the MACD lines at neutral, stochastics are falling. It sort of all adds to rallies being sold into. And that sort of plays out the role that we're seeing on the DAX anyway. The DAX is under pressure to the downside with that euro strength, and FTSE is to a certain extent in a similar sort of boat, but not quite as hard, because obviously sterling is not as strong as the euro is, but there is a degree of sterling strength, certainly against the dollar. And FTSE subsequently is under pressure a little bit on a net basis to the downside, I think. Friday's move, I think, just opens up that area of uncertainty that I think will now drag FTSE back towards these lows around that 7303 level that we'd seen at the beginning or end of June, beginning of July. And I think this rally is going to be sold into, to be honest. See these momentum indicators on the hourly chart. Is this more neutrally configured, you'd say, between 30 and 70 on the hourly RSI? MACD line is crossing higher, as are the stochastics. I'd say that it'll be interesting to see how far this rally goes now. If it starts to sort of turn lower, I mean, I've still got this 74.47 pivot line in on this chart, and I still think that is a level that the market will be looking out for. So 74.47, if you see another lower high below that, I think that could give you another selling opportunity. So that's my take on FTSE today. So I wish you good luck in your trading, and I'll speak to you later. Thank you.